So, hey guys, Chauzu here. We should just be 2 days away from the reveal of Zoro and King Legends for the 9th anniversary. But what if I told you that we already have a pretty good idea about what both Zoro and King will do? Hear me out. Because it's pretty clear after we got Sanji. I think we switched those two so we keep them together. When we got last batch with Sanji and Queen, it was pretty clear, especially, well, for both cases, that they are going for specific synergies here for different units. Like if we talk about Sanji, it's pretty clear that Sanji is made to work very well with Luffy and Yamato. Especially the captain swap tells me that, because it tells me they want you to keep that 6 times Luffy Yamato captain, but move Sanji up to give you a super class you will normally be able to get. Move back, and the buffs complement Yamato and Luffy really well to just increase chain. Meanwhile, we have this side plot Bandai are doing where they want to make versus Kaido the best legend in the game or something like that. Where we got the V2 Yak before anniversary, and now we got V2 Queen, and they just keep making versus Kaido better and better. And the thing is that if they get King right, you probably doubt my suggestion, but if they do what I want them to do, then int driven with versus Kaido will be absolutely bonkers. I'm crossing my fingers, but we'll see. I think we can start with King and then move on to Zoro. Like, it's pretty clear that King will be int, will actually be our first int King, which is pretty neat. Probably driven, and then powerhouse or maybe slasher. Like, we imagine Zoro will be slasher, probably work with Oden and Toki and the Scabbard legend, stuff like that. So it's possible to make King slasher as well, so you can both use him with versus Kaido. But you also have a bit of a batch team going with Zoro and King, unlike Queen and Sanji, which have no synergy at all. And yet they want us to use them together against the ambush with both as captains. Pretty funny. But anyway, so King int driven. So then the question is, what can he do to further elevate Kaido? That's the question, isn't it? The thing is that with Queen and Kaido and Jack, we already got some good stuff going. Like we have the attack boost, or boost, color affinity that can be removed from Queen. Kaido does increased damage taken through full immunity with versus special. Queen gives the conditional. We have the chain boundary from Jack. We have a lot of resistance stacking. So that's a great start. So the question is, what more can you do? And honestly, it's not much. But one thing that feels for certain is that we will have some kind of chain boosts. Like, they basically lack everything except for chain boundary. So they could go absolutely ham and make King do like all chains, like chain boost, chain multiplier boost, increased chain growth rate. Like, imagine doing all those 3 in 1 unit. I don't think they'll do that, but that would be absolutely insane. Another thing they can do, and this is going to sound insane, but hear me out, is that they could give King the Super Sugo Fest Robin mechanic of stacking different buffs for conditional damage. So with Queen and Kaido, we can get the increased damage taken conditional. So if King maybe adds like a guaranteed, let's just say, poison conditional, who knows. If he adds that, and we can stack them, then that will just explode Kaido. Because let's be real, it doesn't matter how good King is. If it doesn't really work well without Robin, then it's not the best. Thankfully, we do have Queen, of course, which you can use as captain. This enables Robin, and you can get around it that way. But it's still not the most optimal. And optimal, you both get a Robin mechanic and a bit of extra chain as a bonus. And I'm pretty certain that King will also add some resistance applied to the enemy. Resistance is just a great mechanic in general for versus Kaido, because you can apply it to the enemy, do more damage, and it can't be removed by Kaido himself. One thing I will note as well is that King being versus Legend will also help, but I basically given up on that. But it's the same for Zoro, like if they were versus Legends, you'd have one more buff to use, basically. Will be more important for King than Zoro, but I'm a bit sad they didn't do any versus Legends, but that's another thing. Before I forgot, we not even talked about the very possibility that King will have Rush. And I'm pretty certain that the Rush will be pretty similar to Sanji in that it will be chain focused. We'll see if they make King a first tap unit like Sanji, or if they try and mix it up and like you have to tap with King second, for example. We'll see about that, but I think King will be very similar to Sanji in the terms of the Rush. And that also might mean that King has some mechanic to get more HP, since you want HP for this, but in the end all of the Beast Pirates have very high base HP stats, so you should be good without any healing, so kind of doubt it. So to summarize, King will have Rush, which will help be very similar to Sanji. King will definitely have some chain buffs, he will most likely have some resistance applied to the enemy, and the dream case scenario is that King becomes a driven version of Super Fast Robin. So that basically summarizes it. King will be like, if King got all of that, he'd be like one of the greatest. He will be the anniversary legend, to be honest. He will be absolutely insane if they do that. Which makes me doubt it, but hey, Queen is a lot of better than we'd expect from a normal legend, so who knows? But yeah, let's shift focus to the Straw Hat side. And the basis for all of this basically is Luffy Yamato captain ability. They are strength, dex, quick. The batch focuses on strength, dex, quick. Like for example in the first batch we did get the Usopp who's quick. You got strength recruits in like Nami and Chopper, and dex recruits in Robin and Jinbei. So pretty clear that they are going for something here with strength, dex, quick. Luffy himself is strength. Sanji is dex. Zoro is, well, quick. It just makes sense going with the team. Bandai are usually not that complicated with stuff like this. If it makes sense, they usually go with it. Another thing that is clear is that Luffy is free spirit. His super strong focuses on free spirit. Sanji is free spirit. Zoro is free spirit. So pretty clear. We also have the fact that we got the Oden Toki legend before, who was a solo slasher. So it makes sense that Zoro is also a slasher to give Oden Toki something this anniversary. And obviously it will just be weird to do a sword that isn't slasher. Like, might be some free spirit driven copium, but I wouldn't bet on it. As for what Zoro does, the thing I'm most uncertain about with Zoro is with the super special, basically. Because the thing is that Sanji is designed to move up to captain to be able to give super free spirit, but that means that the super special is covered, and another super class doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because like we have Zoro probably slasher, Sanji fighter, Luffy Yamato striker. Like, super class just helps specific units, not the whole batch. Similarly, super type doesn't make a lot much sense either, since Zoro quick, Sanji dex, Luffy strength. One thing that could happen, which makes sense from this perspective of wanting the whole batch to work together, is if they give Zoro super type for 3 colors. They've never done that, but if you read like wording for super types, if you look at King for example here, it says changes quick characters to super quick. They could just make Zoro say changes strength, dex, quick characters to super strength, dex, quick. For example, it will be absolutely busted, but I wouldn't rule that out completely. Another option, of course, is that we think that Zoro will have some Enma mechanic from the leaks. So that could just be a captain action, which will be really strong. Maybe Zoro is designed to be like a captain together with Luffy Yamato and add a lot of stuff that way with a captain action ability. What a captain action will do, I'm not really sure. I have a theory what Enma could do if it wasn't a captain action, which we can get to. But Yeah, as for what Zoro will do in his kit, like if you look at the batch so far, like Luffy Yamato, increased damage taken through full immunity, or boost, color affinity from Super Swap. Basically the only big thing lacking is a big attack boost, and I think Zoro will have a meaty one. Probably like at least a 3.25 times attack boost, if I dare say so. And he will... Another thing they could do for Zoro, which I hope they do, which makes really sense considering this batch, like it lacks a conditional, and you have a very obvious conditional you can do, which is the increased damage taken conditional. That's a no-brainer for me. Just do it. Like if Zoro does do those two things, you're basically covered. The only thing you lack after that is some chain buffs, because Sanji only had those two. But the thing is that the remaining chain buffs you want, which is the increased chain growth rate and chain multiplier boost, those are the exact same buffs that Anniversary Zoro does. So I really don't think Zoro will do both of them. Like maybe he does one of them, I guess. And then we have the fact that what does Enma do? How does it play into it? So my theory with Enma is kind of taking a stepping stone from the fact that we have Sanji, which with the rush wants to be very high HP. And Enma traditionally is about draining HP, taking damage, hurting the wielder. So my thing is that basically Sanji gives synergy to Zoro by being high HP. And then basically Sanji using the rush takes all the HP away. So basically my idea for Enma is that he has some kind of mechanic where it gets stronger the more damage you take. And my idea for that is that when Zoro taps with Enma activated, basically all of your buffs or certain buffs get buffed, so maybe plus 0.25 times to your attack boost or boost color affinity, blah blah blah. Something like that I think would be very cool and have synergy with the batch. One thing I've not brought up yet is the fact that if we put in this order, like you start with Sanji, initiate a rush, you end with Luffy Yamato, who has the final tap, so you hit with them last, get the final tap. But what about Zoro? So it makes sense, obviously, in this case that Zoro will be a super tandem unit, just makes the most sense for the batch. As for what he does, well, I've alluded to the things I think he should do. He should do an attack boost, he should do increased damage taken conditional, he should do some types of chain boost, so maybe they can be able to split that up between the special and the super tandem and potentially Enma. But let me know if you agree or disagree, but these are my expectations for the Super Super Fast Zoro and Anniversary King. But, well, he's released during Anniversary, but he should be a normal legend. Let me know if you agree or disagree and what you expect from this upcoming batch for the 9th Anniversary Kizuna. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.